Chapter 9. Sometimes when I can't get to sleep, I imagine all the rules I'd invent if I ever got to be in charge of the world. There are quite a few which involve ex-boyfriends, as it happens, and now I've got a new one. Ex-boyfriends shall not be allowed to take another girl back to the special restaurant they used to go with their previous girlfriend. I still can't believe Josh is taking this girl to Bistro Martin. How can he? It's our place. We had our first date there, for gosh sakes. He's totally betraying all our memories. It's as if our whole relationship is an Etch-a-Sketch, and he's deliberately shaking it clean and drawing a new picture, and forgetting all about the old, much better and more interesting picture which used to be there. Besides which, we've only just broken up. How can he be dating another girl after only 6 weeks? Doesn't he know anything? Rushing blindly into a new relationship is never the answer. In fact, it'll probably make him really unhappy. I could have told him that if he'd asked me. It's 12:30 on Saturday, and I've been sitting here for 20 minutes. I know the restaurant so well, I've been able to plan things perfectly. I'm in the corner, tucked out of sight, wearing a baseball cap just to be on the safe side. The restaurant's one of those bustling brasseries with lots of tables and plants and hooks for coats, so I'm easily able to blend away in the background. Josh is booked at one of the big wooden tables in the window. I peeked at the reservations list. I have a good view of it from my corner seat, so I'll be able to study this so-called Marie pretty carefully and watch their body language. Even better, I'll be able to listen to their conversation because I bugged the table. This isn't a joke. I've genuinely bugged it. 3 days ago, I went online and bought a tiny remote microphone in a pack called my first spy kit. When it arrived, I realized it was designed for 10-year-old boys rather than adult ex-girlfriends, as it also came with a plastic spy's logbook and cool code cracker. But so what? I've tested it out and it works. It only has a range of 20 feet, but that's all I need. As soon as my waiter had taken my drink order, I made a pretext of needing the ladies' room. Casually, I sauntered past, pretending to drop something, and slapped the tiny sticky pad of the microphone on the underside of the table. The earpiece is hidden under my baseball cap. I just have to switch it on when I'm ready. And okay, I know you shouldn't spy on people. I know I'm doing a morally wrong thing. In fact, I had a big argument with Sadie about it. First, she said I shouldn't come here at all. Then, when it was obvious she was going to lose that one, she said if I was that desperate to know what Josh was going to talk about, I should just sit near the table and eavesdrop. But what's the difference? If you're listening in, whether you're 2 feet or 10 feet away. The point is, when it comes to love, there's a different set of morals. All is fair in love or war. It's for the greater good, like those people at Bletchley cracking German codes. That was an invasion of privacy too, if you think about it, but they didn't care, did they? I have an image of myself happily married to Josh, sitting around at Sunday lunch and saying to my children, you know, I very nearly didn't bug Daddy's table, and then none of you would be here. I think he's coming now, Sadie suddenly says beside me. I finally talked her into being my assistant, although all she's done so far is wander about the restaurant, saying disparaging things about people's outfits. I risk a tiny glance toward the door and feel a roller coaster lurch. Oh gosh, Sadie's right, it's him. And her. They're together. Why are they together? Okay, don't freak out. Don't imagine them waking up in bed all sleepy and sex-satisfied. There could be lots of other perfectly reasonable explanations. Maybe they met at the Tube or something. I take a deep gulp of wine, then raise my eyes again. I don't know who to study first, Josh or her. Her. She's blonde, quite skinny, in orange pedal pushers, and one of those crisp white sleeveless tops that women wear in ads for low-fat yogurt or toothpaste. The kind of top you can only wear if you're good at ironing, which just shows how tedious she must be. Her arms are tanned and there are streaks in her hair, as though she's been on holiday. As I shift my gaze to Josh, I feel my stomach go all slithery. He's just Josh. Same fair floppy hair, same goofy lopsided grin as he greets the maitre d', same faded jeans, same canvas sneakers, some cool Japanese label I've never quite got the hang of pronouncing. Same shirt. Hang on. I stare at him in disbelieving shock. That's the shirt I gave him for his birthday. How can he be doing this? Does he have no heart? He's wearing my shirt in our place, and he's smiling at this girl as though no one exists but her. Now he's taking her arm and making some joke which I can't hear, but makes her throw back her head and laugh with her toothpaste at white teeth. They look very well suited, says Sadie brightly in my ear. No, they don't, I mutter. Be quiet. The maitre d' is showing them to the window table. Keeping my head down, I reach into my pocket and switch on the remote control for the microphone. The sound is faint and buzzy, but I can just about hear his voice. Totally wasn't paying attention. Of course, it turns out the bloody GPS has sent me to completely the wrong Notre Dame. He gives her a charming grin and she giggles. I almost want to leap up from my table. I'm so livid. That's our anecdote. That happened to us. We ended up at the wrong Notre Dame in Paris, and we never saw the real one. Has he forgotten he was with me? Is he just editing me out of his life? He looks very happy, don't you think? Observes Sadie. He's not happy. I gave her a venomous glare. He's in total denial. They're ordering a bottle of wine. Great. Now I have to watch them get all merry. I take a few olives and munch disconsolately. Sadie has slid into the seat opposite and is watching me with a trace of pity. I warned you, never be a trailer. I'm not being a trailer. I'm trying to understand him. I swirl my wine around a few times. We ended so suddenly. He just cut me off. I wanted to work at our relationship, you know. I wanted to talk things through. Like, was it the commitment thing? Or was there something else? But he wouldn't. He didn't give me a chance. I glance over at Josh, who is smiling at Marie while the waiter uncorks a bottle. I could be watching our own first date. It was just the same, all smiles and amusing little stories and wine. Where did it go wrong? How did I end up sitting in a corner, bugging him? And then the solution hits me with total clarity. I lean over towards Sadie with urgency. Go and ask him. Ask him what? She makes a face. Where it went wrong. Ask Josh what was wrong with me. Get him to speak out loud the way you did with Ed Harrison, then I'll know. I can't do that, she objects at once. Yes, you can. Get inside his head. Make him talk. This is the only way I can get to him. I break off as the waitress approaches the table, her notepad out. Oh, hi. I'd love some, soup, thanks. As the waitress moves off, I gaze entreatingly at Sadie. Please, I've come all this way. I made all this effort. There's a moment's silence, then Sadie rolls her eyes. Very well. She disappears, then a moment later reappears right by Josh's table. I watch, my heart galloping. I push my earpiece more firmly into my ear, ignoring the buzz, and listen to Marie's rippling laugh as she tells some story about horse riding. She got a faint Irish brogue, which I didn't notice before. As I glance over, I see Josh topping up her glass of wine. Your childhood sounds amazing, he's saying. You have to tell me more. What do you want to know? She breaks off a piece of bread, but doesn't put it in her mouth, I notice. Everything, he smiles. Could take a while. I'm in no hurry. Josh's voice has deepened a smidgen. I'm watching in horror. They've got that whole eyes meeting Brittany thing going on. Any minute he'll take her hand, or even worse. What's Sadie waiting for? Well, I was born in Dublin, she smiles, third of three. Why did you break up with Laura? Sadie's voice is so piercing through my earpiece, I nearly jump out of my chair. Josh has heard her, I can tell him. His hand has stopped halfway through pouring out fizzy water. My two brothers tormented me all through my childhood. Marie is still speaking, obviously unaware of anything. They were so evil. Why did you break up with Laura? What went wrong? Talk to Marie about it. Talk, Josh. Found frogs in my bed, in my satchel, once even in my cereal bowl. Marie looks up at Josh, clearly expecting him to respond, but he's frozen like a statue as Sadie yells in his ear, Say it, say it, say it! Josh, Marie waves her hand in front of his face. Did you hear a word I said? Sorry, he rubs his face. I don't know what happened there. What were you saying? Oh, nothing, she shrugs. Just telling you about my brothers. Your brothers, right. With an obvious effort, he refocuses on her and smiles charmingly. So are they very protective of their little sister? You better watch out. She smiles back and takes a sip of wine. How about you? Any siblings? Say, why did you split up with Laura? What was wrong with her? I can see Josh glaze over again. He looks as though he's trying to catch the distant echo of a nightingale across the valleys. Josh? Marie leans forward. Josh! Sorry. He comes to and shakes his head. Sorry. It's weird, I was just thinking about my ex. Marie keeps smiling, exactly the same amount of smile. But I can see the muscles tense up a little in her jaw. What about her? I don't know. Josh screws up his face looking perplexed. I was just thinking what it was about her and me that went wrong. Relationships end. Marie sips her water. Who knows why? These things happen. Yes. Josh still has the faraway look in his eyes, which isn't surprising as Sadie is yelling like a siren in his ear. Say why it went wrong. Say it out loud. So, Marie changes the subject. How was your week? I've had a hellish time with that client. Remember the one I was telling you about? I suppose she was a bit intense, Josh blurts out. Who was? Lara. Oh, really? I can see Marie trying to feign interest. She used to read me out our relationship issues from some bullshit magazine and want to talk about how similar we were to some other random couple for hours. That annoyed me. Why did she have to analyze everything? Why did she have to unpick every single row and conversation? He gulps at his wine, and I stare at him across the restaurant, stricken. I never knew he felt that way. That does sound annoying, Marie nods sympathetically. Anyway, how'd that big meeting go? You said your boss had some announcement to make? What else? Sadie is shrieking at Josh, drowning out Marie. What else? She used to litter the bathroom with her creams and crap. Josh frowns distantly at the memory. Every time I tried to shave, I had to fight through this thicket of pots. It drove me mad. What a pain, says Marie over brightly. Anyway, it was the little things, like the way she used to sing in the shower. I mean, I don't mind singing, but the same song every bloody day. And she doesn't want to open her mind. She's not interested in traveling, not interested in the same things as me. Like, I once bought her this book of William Eggleston photography. Thought we could talk about it or whatever, but she just flipped through with zero interest. Josh suddenly notices Marie, whose face is almost seized up with the effort of listening politely. Shit, Marie, I'm sorry. He rubs his face with both hands. I don't know why. Lara keeps popping into my head. Let's talk about something else. Yes, let's do that. Marie smiles stiffly. I was going to tell you about my client, the really demanding one from Seattle. You remember? Of course I remember. He reaches for his wine, then seems to change his mind and picks up his glass of fizzy water instead. Soup? Excuse me, miss. Didn't you order the soup? Excuse me. Suddenly I realize a waiter is standing by my table with a tray of soup and bread. I have no idea how long he's been trying to get my attention. Oh, right, I say, quickly turning to him. Yes, thanks. The waiter deposits my food and I pick up a spoon, but I can't eat. I'm too flabbergasted by everything Josh just said. How could he have felt all this and never mentioned it? If he was annoyed by my singing, then why didn't he say? And as for the photography book, I thought he bought it for himself, not for me. How was I supposed to know it meant so much to him? Well, Sadie bounces up to me and slides into the seat opposite. That was interesting. Now you know where it all went wrong. I agree about the singing, she adds. You are rather tuneless. Doesn't she have an ounce of sympathy? Well, thanks. I keep my voice low and gaze morosely into my soup. You know the worst thing? You never said any of this stuff to my face. None of it. I could have fixed it. I would have fixed it. I start crumbling a piece of bread into bits. If you'd just given me a chance. Shall we go now? She sounds bored. No, we haven't finished. I take a deep breath. Go and ask him what he liked about me. What he liked about you? Sadie gives me a dubious look. Are you sure there was anything? Yes, I hiss indignantly. Of course there was. Go on. Sadie opens her mouth as so to speak, then shrugs and heads back across the restaurant. I pushed my earpiece in more firmly and dart a glance over at Josh. He's sipping his wine and skewering olives with the metal pick while Marie talks. 3 years is a long time. I hear her lilting voice over the buzz and crackle, and yes, it was hard to finish, but he wasn't right, and I've never regretted it or looked back. I guess what I'm trying to say is, relationships end, but you have to move forward. She gulps her wine. You know what I mean? Josh is nodding automatically, but I can tell he isn't hearing a word. He has a bemused look on his face and keeps trying to edge his head away from Sadie, who's yelling, What did you love about Lara? Say it, say it. I love the way she had so much energy, he says in a desperate rush. And she was quirky. She always had some cute necklace on or a pencil stuffed into her hair or something. And she really appreciated stuff. Some girls, you do things for them and they just take it as their due, but she never did. She's really sweet, refreshing. Are we talking about your ex-girlfriend again by any chance? There's a steely edge to Marie's voice, which makes even me wince. Josh seems to come to. Shit, Marie, I don't know what's got into me. I don't know why I'm even thinking about her. He rubs his brow, looking so freaked out I almost feel sorry for him. If you ask me, you're still obsessed, Marie says tightly. What? Josh gives a shocked burst of laughter. I'm not obsessed. I'm not even interested in her anymore. So why are you telling me how great she was? I watch agog as Marie throws down her napkin, pushes back her chair, and stands up. Call me when you're over her. I am over her, Josh exclaims angrily. Jesus Christ, this is fucking ridiculous. I haven't thought about her until today. He pushes back his chair, trying to get Marie's full attention. Listen to me, Marie. Laura and I had a relationship. It was fine, but it wasn't great, and then it finished. End of. Marie is shaking her head. Which is why you bring her up in conversation every 5 minutes. I don't, Josh almost yells in frustration, and a few people at nearby tables look up. Not normally. I haven't talked about her or thought about her for weeks. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me today. You need to sort yourself out, Marie says, not unkindly. She picks up her bag. See you, Josh. As she moves swiftly between the tables and out of the restaurant, Josh sinks back into his seat looking shell-shocked. He looks even more gorgeous when he's hassled than when he's happy. Somehow I suppress an urge to run over and fling my arms around him and tell him he never wanted to be with such an uptight, toothpaste-eyed girl anyway. Are you satisfied now? Sadie returns to my side. You've ruined the path of true love. I thought that was against your creed. That wasn't true love, I scowl at her. How do you know? Because I know. Shut up. We both watch in silence as Josh pays his bill, reaches for his jacket, and gets up to leave. His jaw is tight and his easy saunter has gone, and I feel a flash of guilt. But I force myself to quell it. I know I'm doing the right thing. Not just for me, but for Josh. I can make it work between us. I know I can. Eat your lunch. Hurry up. Sadie interrupts my reverie. We need to go home now. You need to start getting ready. For what? I look at her confused. For our date. Oh, gosh, that. It's nearly 6 hours away, I point out, and we're only going for a drink. There's no rush. I used to take all day getting ready for parties. She shoots me an accusing look. This is my date. You're representing me. You need to look divine. I'll look as divine as I can, okay? I take a spoonful of soup. But you haven't even chosen a frock. Sadie is hopping with impatience. It's already 2 o'clock. We need to go home now. Now! For gosh sakes. Fine, whatever. I push away my soup. It's gone cold anyway. Let's go. All the way home I'm deep in thought. Josh is vulnerable. He's confused. It's the perfect time for me to rekindle our love. I have to use what I've learned. I have to change myself. I keep obsessively tracking back over everything he said, trying to remember every detail. And every time I reach one particular phrase, I squirm and wince. It was fine, but it wasn't great. It's all blindingly clear now. Our relationship wasn't great because he wasn't honest with me. He didn't tell me any of his little niggles, and they all built up in his head, and that's why he chucked me. But it doesn't matter, because now I know what the problems are. I can solve them. All of them. I put together an action plan, and I'm going to start by tidying up my bathroom. As soon as we get back to my flat, I stride in full of optimism to find Sadie heading me off. What are you going to wear tonight? She demands. Show me. Later. I try to get past her. Not later. Now. Now. For gosh sakes. All right. I head into my bedroom and wrench open the little curtain that hides my wardrobe. What about this? At random, I pull out a maxi skirt and my new limited edition corset top from Topshop, and some wedge sandals, maybe. Stays? Sadie looks as though I'm brandishing a pig's corpse. And a long skirt? It's the maxi look, okay? It's really fashionable, actually, and these aren't stays. It's a corset top. Sadie touches my corset top with a shudder. My mother tried to make me wear stays to my aunt's wedding, she says. I threw them on the fire, so she shut me in my room and told the servants not to let me out. Really? I feel a spark of interest in spite of myself. So you missed the wedding? I climbed out the window, took the motor, drove to London, and had my hair shingled, she says proudly. When my mother saw it, she went to bed for 2 days. Wow. I put the clothes down on the bed and looked at Sadie properly. You were a real rebel. Were you always doing things like that? I did rather torture my parents, but they were so stifling, so Victorian. The whole house was like a museum. She shudders. My father disapproved of the phonograph, the Charleston cocktails, everything. He thought girls should spend their time arranging flowers and doing needlework like my sister Virginia. You mean Granny? Now I'm fascinated to hear more. I only have hazy memories of Granny as a gray-haired lady who liked gardening. Can't even imagine her as a girl. What was she like? Horribly virtuous. Sadie makes a face. She wore stays. Even after the whole world had stopped wearing them, Virginia laced herself in and put her hair up and arranged the flowers in church every week. She was the dullest girl in Archbury, and then she married the dullest man in Archbury. My parents were overjoyed. What's Archbury? Where we lived, a village in Hertfordshire. This is ringing bells in my mind. Archbury, I know I've heard it. Hang on, I say suddenly. Archbury House, the house that burned down in the 1960s. Was that your house? It's all coming back to me now. Years ago, Dad told me about the old family home, Archbury House, and even showed me a black and white photo dating from the 1800s. He said that he and Uncle Bill had spent summers there when they were little boys and then moved in when their grandparents died. It was a wonderful place, all old corridors and huge cellars and a great big grand staircase. But after the fire, the land was sold off and a development of new houses was built in its place. Yes, Virginia was living there with her family by then. In fact, she caused the fire. She left a candle alight. There's a moment's silence before Sadie adds with an acidic edge, not so perfect after all. We drove through the village once I volunteered. We saw the new houses. They looked okay. Sadie doesn't seem to hear me. I lost all my things, she says distantly. All the things I was keeping there while I was abroad. All destroyed. That's awful, I say, feeling inadequate. What does it matter? She suddenly seems to come to and gives me a brittle smile. Who cares? She whirls away toward the wardrobe and points imperiously. Get out your clothes. I need to see them all. Whatever. I grab an armful of hangers and dump them on the bed. So tell me about your husband. What was he like? Sadie considers for a moment. He wore a scarlet waistcoat at our wedding. Other than that, I remember very little about him. That's it? A waistcoat? He had a mustache, she adds. I don't get you. I throw another armful of clothes onto the bed. How could you marry someone you didn't love? Because it was my only way to escape, says Sadie, as though it's obvious. I had the most terrible row with my parents. My father had stopped my allowance. The vicar called every second day. I was locked in my room every night. What had you done? I say, avid with curiosity. Had you been arrested again? It doesn't matter, says Sadie after a slight pause. She turns away from my gaze and stares out the window. I had to leave. Marriage seemed as good a way as any. My parents had already found a suitable young man, and believe me, they were hardly lining up in droves in those days. Oh, well, I know about that, I say, rolling my eyes in sympathy. There are no single men in London. None. It's a well-known fact. I look up to see Sadie gazing at me with a kind of blank incomprehension. We lost all ours in the war, she says. Oh, of course I saw the war. World War I. I hadn't quite put that together. The ones who survived weren't the same boys they'd been. They were wounded, broken to bits, or full of guilt because they'd survived. A shadow passes across her face. My older brother was killed. You know, Edwin. He was 19. My parents never really got over it. I stare at her appalled. I had a great Uncle Edwin who was killed in World War I. Why don't I know this stuff? What was he like? I asked timidly. Edwin? He was funny. Her mouth twists as though she wants to smile but can't let herself. He made me laugh. He made my parents more bearable. He made everything more bearable. The room is quiet, save for the tinny sound of the TV upstairs. Sadie's face is immobile, transfixed with memories or thoughts. She almost seems in a trance. But even if there weren't many men around, I ventured, did you have to settle? Did you have to marry some random guy? What about waiting for the right guy? What about love? What about love? She mimics me mockingly, snapping out of her reverie. What about love? Goodness, you play a monotonous tune. She surveys the mountain of clothes on the bed. Lay them out so I can see properly. I'll choose your dress for this evening, and it won't be a ghastly long skirt to the ground. Obviously, the reminiscing is over. Okay, I start spreading my clothes out on the bed. You choose. And I'm in charge of your hairstyle and makeup. Sadie adds firmly, I'm in charge of everything. Fine, I say patiently. As I head back to the bathroom, my head is full of Sadie's stories. Never been into family trees or history, but somehow this is all quite fascinating. Maybe I'll get Dad to dig out a few photos of the old family house. He'll love that. I close the door and survey my pots of creams and cosmetics, all balanced on the counter around the basin. Perhaps Josh had a point. Maybe I don't need apricot scrub, and oatmeal scrub, and sea salt scrub. I mean, how scrub should skin be anyway? Half an hour later, I've got everything organized into rows and have assembled a whole carrier bag of ancient half-empty pots to chuck out. Already, my action plan is underway. If Josh saw this bathroom, he'd be so impressed. I almost feel like taking a picture of it and sending him a text. Feeling delighted with myself, I duck my head back into my bedroom, but Sadie's not there. Sadie, I call, but there's no reply. I hope she's okay. It's obviously hard for her, remembering her brother. Maybe she needed a quiet moment alone. I put the bag of pots next to the back door to deal with later and make myself a cup of tea. Next on my list is to find that photography book he was talking about. It must still be around here somewhere, maybe under the sofa. I found it! Sadie's excited voice springing out of nowhere. It nearly makes me knock my head on the coffee table. Don't do that! I sit up and reach for my cup of coffee. Listen, Sadie, I just want to say, are you okay? Do you want to talk? I know things can't have been easy. You're right, it wasn't easy, she says crisply. Your wardrobe is very deficient. I didn't mean clothes, I meant feelings. I give her an understanding look. You've been through a lot, it must have affected you. Sadie doesn't even hear me, or if she does, she pretends not to. I found you a frock, she announces. Come and see, hurry up. If she doesn't want to talk, she doesn't want to talk. I can't make her. Great. So, what did you choose? I get up and start heading toward my bedroom. Not there. Sadie darts in front of me. We have to go out. It's in a shop. Shop? I stop and stare at her. What do you mean in a shop? I was forced to go out. She lifts her chin defiantly. There was nothing in your wardrobe. I'd never seen such bedraggled clothes. They're not bedraggled. So I went out and found an angel of a dress. You simply have to buy it. Where? I'm trying to think where she could have gone. Which shop? Did you go into central London? I'll show you. Come on, get your purse. I can't help feeling touched at the thought of Sadie wafting around H&M or wherever, trying to find an outfit for me. Well, okay, I say at last, as long as it doesn't cost a zillion pounds. I reach for my bag and check I've got my keys. Come on then, show me. I'm expecting Sadie to lead me to the tube station and drag me to Oxford Circus or somewhere, but instead she veers around the corner and into a grid of back streets I've never explored. Are you sure it's this way? I hesitate and puzzled. Yes. She tries to drag me forward. Come on. We pass rows of houses and a little park and a college. There's nothing here that looks like a shop. I'm about to tell Sadie that she must have gotten her bearings wrong when she turns the corner and makes a triumphant flourish. There! We're in front of a tiny parade of shops. There's a newsagent and a dry cleaner, and right at the end, a tiny shop with a wood-painted sign reading Vintage Fashion Emporium. There's a mannequin in the window wearing a long satin dress, gloves up to the elbow, a hat with a veil, and lots of brooches everywhere. Next to her is a pile of old hat boxes and a dressing table holding a large selection of enamel hairbrushes. This is by far the best shop you have in your area, says Sadie emphatically. I found everything we need. Come on. Before I can say anything, she disappeared into the shop. I have no choice but to follow her. The door gives a little ting as I enter, and a middle-aged woman smiles at me from behind a tiny counter. She has straggly dyed hair in a vivid shade of yellow and is wearing what looks like an original 70s caftan in a wild green circular print, together with several amber necklaces strung around her neck. Hello, she smiles pleasantly. Welcome to the shop. I'm Nora. Have you shopped here before? Hi, I nod back. This is my first time. Were you interested in a particular garment or era? Oh, just have a browse. I smile at her. Thanks. I can't see Sadie, so I start wandering around. I've never been into vintage clothes, but even I can tell there's some pretty amazing stuff here. A pink psychedelic 60s dress is displayed next to a beehive wig. There's a whole rack of original-looking bone corsets and petticoats. On a dressmaker's mannequin is a cream lace wedding dress with a veil and a tiny dried flower bouquet. A glass case holds some white leather skating boots, all creased and weathered with use. There are collections of fans, handbags, old lipstick cases. Where are you? Sadie's impatient voice pierces my eardrum. Come here. She's beckoning from a rack toward the back. Feeling sudden misgivings, I head toward her. Sadie, I say in a low voice, I agree this stuff is cool and everything, but I'm only going for a casual drink. You can't possibly think. Look, she gestures in triumph. Perfect. I'm never letting a ghost give me fashion advice again. Sadie is pointing at a 1920s flapper's dress. A bronze silk flapper dress with a dropped waist, little beaded cap sleeves, and a matching cape. The store tag reads, Original 1920s dress made in Paris. Isn't it darling? She clasps her hands and whirls around, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. My friend Bunty had one very similar, only in silver. Sadie, I find my voice, I can't wear that on a date. Don't be stupid. Of course you can. Try it on. She's urging me with her skinny white arms. You'll have to cut off all your hair, of course. I'm not cutting off my hair. I move away in horror, and I'm not trying it on. I found you some matching shoes, too. She flits eagerly to a rack and points at some little bronze-colored dancing slippers and some proper makeup. She whirls over to a glass counter and gestures at a Bakelite case next to a little sign reading, Original 1920s makeup set, very rare. I had a set just like this. She's gazing at it fondly. This is the best lipstick that was ever made. I'll teach you how to do yours properly. For gosh sakes. I know how to do my lipstick properly, thanks. You have no idea. She cuts me off crisply, but I'll teach you. And we'll marcel your hair. There are some irons for sale. She points at an old cardboard box inside, which I can see some weird-looking ancient metal contraption. You'll look so much better if you make an effort. Her head swivels around again. If we could just find you some decent stockings. Sadie, stop it, I hiss. You must be crazy. I'm not getting any of this stuff. I still remember that delicious smell of getting ready for parties. She closes her eyes briefly as though transfixed. Lipstick and singed hair. Singed hair? I squeak in horror. You're not singeing my hair. Don't fuss, she says impatiently. We only singed it sometimes. Are you getting on all right? Nora appears, jangling amber, and I jump in surprise. Oh, yes, thanks. Are you particularly interested in the 1920s? She heads over to the glass case. We have some marvelous original items here, all fresh in from a recent auction. Yes, I nod politely. I was just looking at them. Not sure what this was for. She picks out a little jeweled pot mounted on a circular ring. Strange little thing, isn't it? A locket, maybe? A rouge ring, says Sadie, rolling her eyes. Does no one have any idea about anything anymore? I think it's a rouge ring. I can't help saying casually. Ah, Nora looks impressed. You're an expert. Maybe you know how to use these old marcel irons. She takes out the metal contraption and hefts it cautiously in her hand. I believe there was quite a knack to it before my time, I'm afraid. It's easy, says Sadie scornfully into my ear. I'll show you. There's a ting from the door, and two girls come in, oohing and eyeing as they look around. This place is wicked, I hear one of them saying. Excuse me, Nora smiles. I'll let you keep browsing. If you'd like to try anything on, let me know. I will. I smile back at her. Thanks. So you want to try the bronze dress on? Sadie shoos me forward. Go on. Stop it, I hiss as the woman disappears. I don't want to try it on. Sadie looks bemused. But you have to try it. What if it doesn't fit? I don't have to because I'm not wearing it. My frustration bubbles over. Get real. This is the 21st century. I'm not using some ancient old lipstick and curling irons. I'm not wearing a flapper's dress on a date. It's just not happening. For a few moments, Sadie seems too taken aback to reply. But you promised. She fixes me with huge wounded eyes. You promised I could choose your dress. I thought you meant normal clothes, I say in exasperation. 21st century clothes. Not this. I pick up the dress and brandish it at her. It's ridiculous. It's a costume. But if you don't wear the dress I choose, then it might as well not be my date at all. It might as well be your date. Sadie's voice starts rising. I can tell she's cranking up into a scream. I might as well stay at home. Go out with him on your own. I sigh. Look, Sadie. He's my man. It's my date. She cries passionately. Mine! With my rules. This is my last chance to have some fun with a man, and you want to spoil it by wearing some frightful dreary outfit. I don't want to spoil it. You promised to do things my way. You promised. Stop shouting at me. I pull away, clutching my ear. Jesus. Is everything all right back here? Nora appears again and eyes me suspiciously. Yes, I try to compose myself. I was just, on the phone. Her face clears. She nods toward the bronze silk flapper dress still in my arms. You want to try that on? Wonderful piece made in Paris. Have you seen the mother of pearl buttons? They're exquisite. You promised. Sadie's about 3 inches from me, her chin set, her eyes fiery. You promised. It's my date, mine. Mine! She's like a relentless fire engine siren. I jerk my head away, trying to think straight as best I can. There's no way I can cope with the whole evening of Sadie yelling at me. My head will explode. And let's face it, Ed Harrison thinks I'm a nutter anyway. What difference does it make if I turn up in a flapper dress? Sadie's right. It's her evening. I might as well do it her way. All right, I say at last, cutting across Sadie's insistent voice. You've talked me around. I'll try on the dress. Chapter 10. If anyone I know sees me, I will die. I will die. As I get out of the taxi, I look quickly up and down the street. No one in sight, thank goodness. I've never looked so ludicrous in my life. This is what happens when you let a dead great-aunt take control of your looks. I'm wearing the flapper dress from the shop, which I only just managed to zip up. Clearly they didn't go for boobs in the 20s. My feet are squished into the dancing slippers. 6 long bead necklaces are jangling around my neck. Circling my head is a black headband, beaded with jet, and sticking out of that is a feather. A feather. My hair has been tortured into a series of old-fashioned looking waves and curls, which took about 2 hours to do with the Marcel irons. When it was done, Sadie insisted I smother it in some weird pomade stuff that she also found in the vintage shop, and now it feels rock solid to the touch. And as for my makeup, did they honestly think this was a good look in the 1920s? My face is covered in pale powder, with a spot of rouge on each cheek. My eyes are heavily outlined in black coal. My lids are smeared with a lurid green paste which came out of the old Bakelite case. I still don't know exactly what's on my eyelashes, some weird lump of black goo which Sadie called cosmetique. She made me boil it up in a frying pan and then smear it all over my lashes. I mean, hello, I have a new Lancome mascara. It's waterproof with flexible fibers and everything. But Sadie wasn't interested. She was too overexcited by all the stupid ancient makeup and telling me how she and Bunty used to get ready for parties together and pluck each other's eyebrows and take little swigs from their hip flasks. Let me see. Sadie appears beside me on the pavement and scans me. She's in a gold dress with gloves up to her elbows. You need to touch up her lipstick. There's no point suggesting a nice subtle MAC lip gloss instead. With a sigh, I reach in my bag for the pot of red gunk and pat yet more color onto my exaggerated Cupid's bow. 2 girls pass by, nudging each other and giving me curious smiles. They obviously think I'm off to a costume party and am going for most over-the-top outfit. You look divine, Sadie hugs herself with excitement. You just need a gasper. She starts looking up and down the street. Where's a tobacconist? Oh, he should have bought you a darling little cigarette holder. I don't smoke. I cut her off, and you can't smoke in public places anyway. It's the law. What a ridiculous law. She looks aggrieved. How does one hold a cigarette party? We don't hold cigarette parties. Smoking gives you cancer. It's dangerous. Sadie makes an impatient noise. Come on, then. I begin to follow her up the street toward the Crowbar sign, barely able to walk in my vintage shoes. As I reach the door, I realize she's disappeared. Where's she gone? Sadie, I turn around and scan the street. If she's left me in the lurch, I will absolutely murder her. He's in there already. She suddenly appears looking even more hyper than before. He's absolutely swoonsome. My heart sinks. I was hoping he might have stood me up. How do I look? Sadie's smoothing her hair down, and I feel a sudden pang of compassion for her. Can't be much fun going on a date and being invisible. You look great, I say reassuringly. If he could see you, he'd think you were really hot. Hot? She looks confused. Sexy, pretty, you're a hottie, it's what we say. Oh, good. Her eyes travel nervously to the door and back. Now, before we go in, remember this is my date. I know it's your date, I say patiently. You've drummed it into me enough times. What I mean is, be me. She fixes me with an urgent look. Say whatever I tell you to say. Do whatever I tell you to do. Then I'll feel as though it's really me talking to him. Do you understand? Don't worry, I get it. You feed me the lines and I'll say them, I promise. Go on then. She gestures at the entrance. I push through the heavy frosted glass doors and find myself in a chic lobby with suede paneled walls and low-level lighting. There's another set of double doors ahead, beyond which I can see the bar. As I pass through, I catch a glimpse of myself in a tinted mirror and feel a clench of dismay. Somehow I feel a million times more ludicrous here than I did in my flat. My necklaces are jangling with every step, my feathers bobbing around in my headdress. I look like a 20s-ogram, and I'm standing in a minimalist bar full of cool people in understated helmet length. As I'm edging forward, all prickly in self-consciousness, I suddenly spot Ed. He's sitting about 10 yards away in a conventional trousers and jacket combo, drinking what looks like a conventional gin and tonic. He looks up, glances my way, then does a double take. You see, says Sadie triumphantly. He's transfixed by the sight of you. He's transfixed, all right. His jaw has fallen and his face has turned a pale green color. Very slowly, as though forcing himself through noxious mud, he gets to his feet and approaches me. I can see the bar staff nudging one another as I walk through the bar, and from a nearby table comes a sudden gasp of hilarity. Smile at him, Sadie's insisting loudly in my ear. Walk toward him with a shimmy and say, hello, Daddy-O. Daddy-O? It's not my date, I remind myself feverishly. It's Sadie's. I'm only acting a part. Hello, Daddy-O, I say brightly as he draws near. Hi, he says faintly. You look... He moves his hands helplessly. All around, the buzz of conversation has died to a halt. The whole bar is watching us. Great. Say some more. Sadie is hopping around in excitement, clearly oblivious to the awkwardness. Say, you look pretty dapper yourself, you old thing, and twirl your necklace. You look pretty dapper yourself, you old thing. I fix him with a rictus smile, swinging my beads around so hard that one of the necklaces catches me in the eye. Ow, that hurt. Okay. Ed seems barely able to talk for embarrassment. Well, can I get you a drink, a glass of champagne? Ask for a swizzle stick, instructs Sadie, and smile. You haven't laughed once. Could I have a swizzle stick? I give a high-pitched giggle. I simply adore swizzle sticks. A swizzle stick? Ed frowns. Why? Fuck knows why. I dart a helpless look at Sadie. Say, to stir the bubbles out, darling. She hisses. To stir the bubbles out, darling. I giggle brightly again and twirl my necklaces for good measure. Ed looks like he wants to sink into the floor. I don't blame him. Why don't you take a seat, he says in a strained voice. I'll bring over the drinks. I head over to the table where he was sitting and pull up a suede upholstered chair. Sit like this, commands Sadie, adopting an affected pose with her hands on her knee, and I copy as best I can. Open your eyes wider. She looks restlessly around at all the clusters of people sitting in groups and standing at the bar. The hum of chatter has resumed, and there's a low throbbing of lounge-style music. When does the band arrive? When will the dancing start? There isn't any band, I mutter. There isn't any dancing. It's not that kind of place. No dancing? She says fretfully, but there has to be dancing. Dancing is the whole point. Don't they have any snappier music? Don't they have anything with a bit of life? I don't know, I say sarcastically. Ask him. I jerk my head toward the barman just as Ed appears before me with a glass of champagne and what looks like another gin and tonic. I should think it's a treble. He sits down opposite, puts down the drinks, then lifts his glass. Cheers. Chin chin, I say with a dazzling smile. Give my champagne a brisk stir with a plastic swizzle stick and take a glug. I look up for Sadie's approval, but she's disappeared. I surreptitiously look around and spot her behind the bar yelling something in the barman's ear. Oh gosh, what havoc is she causing now? So, did you have far to come? My attention is wrenched away. Ed's talking to me and there's no Sadie to feed me any lines. Great. I'm actually going to have to make conversation. Not too far. Kilburn. Ah, Kilburn, he nods as though I've said something really profound. While I'm trying to think of something to say, I run my eyes over him. Nice charcoal jacket, I have to admit. He's taller than I remember, with a broader, firmer frame, and an expensive-looking shirt. A hint of 5 o'clock shadow, the same V of frown lines that he had in the office. For gosh sakes, it's the weekend. He's on a date, yet he looks as if he's at some really serious board meeting where everyone's about to be fired and lose all their bonuses. I feel a flash of irritation. He could at least try to look like he's having a good time. So, Ed, I make a heroic effort and smile at him. From your accent, I'm guessing you're American? That's right, he nods but doesn't volunteer anymore. How long have you been over? 5 months. How do you like London? Haven't seen much of it. Oh, you must. I can't help my natural enthusiasm pouring out. You should go to the London Eye and Covent Garden, and then you should take a boat to Greenwich. Maybe. He gives me a tight smile and takes a slug of his drink. I'm pretty busy at work. That is the lamest thing I ever heard. How can you move to a city and not bother to get to know it? I knew I didn't like this guy. I glance up to see Sadie by my side, her arms folded sulkily. That barman is very stubborn, she says. Go and tell him to change the music. Is she nuts? Shooting her a discreet glare, I turn back to Ed and smile politely. So, Lara, what do you do? Clearly he feels he's got to join in this conversation too. I'm a headhunter. Immediately Ed looks wary. You're not with Sturgis Curtis, are you? No, I have my own company, L&N Executive Recruitment. Good, I wouldn't have liked to offend you. What's wrong with Sturgis Curtis? I can't resist asking. They're vultures from hell. He has such a look of horror on his face, I almost want to giggle. They pester me every day. Do I want this job? Am I interested in that job? They use tricks to get past my secretary. I mean, they're good. He shudders. They even asked me to sit at their table at the business people dinner. Oh, wow. I can't help sounding impressed. I've never been to the business people dinner, but I've seen it written up in the magazine. It's always held at a big hotel in London. It's pretty glam. So, are you going? I'm speaking at it. He's speaking? Oh my gosh, he must be really important. I had no idea. I look up to raise an eyebrow at Sadie, but she's disappeared. Are you going? He asked politely. Not this year. I try to imply this is just a temporary blip. My firm wasn't quite able to make up a table this year. Bearing in mind, tables hold 12 people and cost £5,000. And L&N Executive Recruitment has precisely 2 people and about minus £5,000. Ah, he inclines his head. I'm sure we'll be there next year, though, I say quickly. We'll probably make up 2 tables, do it properly. We'll probably have expanded by then. I trail off. I don't know why I'm making any effort to impress this guy. He clearly isn't interested in anything I say. As I swizzle my drink again, I realize the music has stopped. I turn to look at the barman, and he's standing by the CD player behind the bar, obviously experiencing a momentous struggle between his own will and the sound of Sadie shrieking something in his ear. What is she up to? At last, with a visible capitulation, the barman takes the CD from its box and slides it into the machine. The next minute, some scratchy, old-fashioned Cole Porter type band music fills the air. Sadie sweeps up behind Ed's chair, a beam of satisfaction on her face. At last! I knew that man would have something suitable in his drawer. Now ask Lyra to dance, she instructs Ed, and bends close to his ear. Ask her to dance! Oh gosh, no way. Resist her, I silently message Ed. Don't listen, be strong. I'm sending him my strongest telepathic signals, but it's no good. As Sadie bellows in his ear, a pain-confused look is coming over Ed's face. He looks like someone who really, really doesn't want to vomit, but is having no choice. Lara, he clears his throat and rubs his face, would you like to dance? If I refuse him, Sadie will wreak her revenge on me, I know it. This is what she wanted. This is why we're all here, so she can dance with Ed. Okay. Hardly able to believe what I'm doing, I put down my glass and stand up. I follow Ed to a tiny patch of spare floor next to the bar stools, and he turns to face me. For a moment, we both just stare at each other, paralyzed by the enormity of the situation. This is a 100% non-dancing scenario. We're not on a dance floor. This isn't a club, it's a bar. No one else is dancing. The jazz band is still playing its scratchy music through the speakers, and some bloke is singing about his fancy shoes. There's no beat, there's no nothing. There's no way we can dance. Dance! Sadie is flitting between us like Quicksilver, a whirlwind of impatience. Dance together, dance! With a look of desperation in his eyes, Ed starts moving awkwardly from side to side, trying as best he can to follow the music. He looks so miserable, I start copying him just to make him feel better. I've never seen less convincing dancing in my life. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see everyone turning to watch us. My dress is swishing backward and forward, and my necklaces are jangling. Ed's eyes are focused far ahead, as though he's having an out-of-body experience. Excuse me, a member of the bar staff carrying a plate of dim sum ducks between us. Not only are we not on the dance floor, we're in the way of everyone. This is the most excruciating experience of my life. Dance properly. I turn my head to see Sadie regarding me in horror. That's not dancing. What does she expect us to do? The waltz? You look as though you're trudging through mud. This is how to dance. She starts some 20s Charleston-type dance, all flying legs and elbows and knees. Her face is beatific, and I can hear her humming along to the music. At least someone's having fun. As I watch, she shimmies right up to Ed and places a slender hand on each of his shoulders. Now she's running a hand adoringly down his cheek. Isn't he blissful? She runs both her hands down his chest, circling his waist and skimming down his back. Can you feel him? I murmur incredulously, and Sadie flinches as though I've caught her out. That's not the point, she says defensively, and it's none of your business. Okay, so she can't. Well, whatever rocks her boat, I suppose, but do I have to watch? Sadie, I hiss as her hands travel even further down his body. Get a room. I'm sorry, what did you say? With an obvious effort, Ed focuses on me. He's still dancing from side to side, totally oblivious to the fact that he is a 23-year-old flapper running her hands voraciously all over his body. I said, let's stop. I avert my eyes from Sadie, who's trying to nibble his ear. No! Protests Sadie furiously. More! Great idea, says Ed at once and starts back toward our chairs. Ed? Ed Harrison? A blonde woman interrupts his path. She's wearing beige trousers and a white shirt and an expression of incredulous glee. At the table behind her, I can see several other well-groomed business types watching avidly. I thought that was you. Were you just dancing? As Ed surveys all the faces at the table, it's obvious his nightmare has just got about 50 times worse. I almost feel sorry for him. That's right, he says at last, as though he can't quite believe it himself. We were dancing. He seems to come to. Lara, do you know Genevieve Bailey from DFT? Genevieve, Lara. Hello, Bill, Mike, Sarah. He's nodding at all the people sitting around the table. Your dress is adorable. Genevieve flicks a condescending glance over my outfit. Going for the 20s look, obviously. It's original, I nod. I have no doubt. I smile as best I can, but she's touched a nerve. I don't want to be dressed up like something out of a Daily Mail vintage dolls collection series, especially not in front of what's clearly a collection of high-profile business people. I'll just touch up my makeup. I force another smile. I'll be back in a minute. In the ladies' room, I get out a tissue, wet it, and frantically scrub at my face, but nothing seems to be coming off. What are you doing? Sadie appears behind me. You'll ruin your face. Just trying to tone down the color, I say between jerky rubs. That rouge won't come off, says Sadie airily. It's indelible. Lasts for days. The lipstick, too. Indelible? Where did you learn to dance? Sadie inserts herself between me and the mirror. I didn't. You don't learn to dance. You just pick it up. Well, it shows. You're terrible. Well, you're totally over the top, I retort, stung. You look like you wanted to jump his bones right there. Jump his bones, Sadie frowns. What do you mean? It means, I stop awkwardly. I'm not sure bone jumping is something I want to be discussing with my great aunt. What? Sadie says impatiently. What does it mean? You do it with someone else. I choose my words carefully. It's like a pajama party, except you take off your pajamas. Oh, that. Her face clicks with recognition. You call it jumping his bones? Sometimes, I shrug. What an odd phrase. We used to call it sex. Oh, I say, discomfited. Well, we do too. Or Barney mugging, she adds. Barney mugging? And she has the nerve to call jump his bones an odd phrase? Well, whatever you call it, I take off one of my shoes and rub my sore toes. You look like you wanted to do it with him right there in the bar. Sadie smirks and adjusts her headband, looking in the mirror. You must admit he's handsome. On the outside, maybe, I say grudgingly, but he doesn't have any personality. Yes, he does, says Sadie, looking offended. How'd she know? It was me who had to make all the bloody conversation with him. No, he doesn't. He's lived in London for months, but he hasn't bothered to see anything. I wince as I put my shoe back on. What kind of narrow-minded person does that? What kind of person isn't interested in one of the greatest cities in the world? My voice is rising with indignation. He doesn't deserve to live here. As a Londoner, I'm taking this quite personally. I look up to see what Sadie thinks, but her eyes are closed and she's humming. She's not even bloody listening to me. Do you think he'd like me? She opens her eyes. If he could see me, if he could dance with me. Her face is so hopeful and glowing, all my outraged eyes away. I'm being stupid. What does it matter what this guy is like? He's got nothing to do with me. This is Sadie's evening. Yes, I say as convincingly as I can. I think he'd love you. I think so too. She looks satisfied. Your headdress is crooked, did you realize? I tug at it and survey my reflection grumpily. I look so ridiculous. You look divine. You're the prettiest girl in the place. Apart from me, she adds airily. Do you know how stupid I feel? I rub at my cheeks again. No, of course not. All you care about is your date. I'll tell you something, says Sadie, watching me critically in the mirror. You've got a film star's mouth. In my day, all the girls died to have a mouth like that. You should have been in the pictures. Yeah, right. I roll my eyes. Look at yourself, you ninny. You look like a film heroine. Reluctantly, I face the mirror again, trying to imagine myself in a flickery black and white, tied to a railway line while a piano bashes out some menacing tune. Actually, she's right. I do quite look the part. Oh, sir, please spare me. I adopt a pose in front of the mirror, batting my eyelashes. Exactly. You'd have been a darling of the silver screen. Sadie meets my eyes, and I can't help grinning back. This has been the weirdest, stupidest date of my life, but somehow her mood is infectious. As we head back out to the bar, I see that Ed is still chatting to Genevieve. She's leaning elegantly against a chair in a casual pose, which I instantly realize is designed to show off her tall, slim figure to Ed. I also instantly realize that he hasn't even noticed, which slightly endears him to me. Sadie's noticed, though. She keeps crossly trying to elbow Genevieve out of the way and yelling, "Move!" in her ear, but Genevieve's ignoring her completely. She must be made of strong stuff. Laura, Genevieve greets me with a fake smile. I'm so sorry. I don't want to disrupt your evening adieu with Ed. No worries, I give her an equally fake smile. How long have you known each other? She gestures between Ed and me with an elegant silk-cuffed wrist. Not long, no. So how did you two meet? I can't help a surreptitious glance at Ed. He looks so uneasy at the question that I want to giggle. It was in the office, wasn't it? I say to help him out. In the office, yes. Ed nods in relief. Well, Genevieve laughs, the kind of bright, trilling laugh you give when you're really quite annoyed about something. Ed, you are secretive. I had no idea you had a girlfriend. For a split second, Ed and I meet eyes. I can see he's about as keen on that idea as I am. She's not my girlfriend, he says at once. I'm not his girlfriend, I chime in hastily. It's kind of a one-off. We're just having a drink, Ed supplies. We'll probably never see each other again. Probably not, Ed affirms. Definitely not. We're both nodding in total agreement. In fact, I think we bonded for the first time. I see. Genevieve looks totally confused. Let me get you another drink, Lara. Ed gives me the warmest smile he has all evening. No, I'll get them. I beam back at him. There's nothing like knowing you only have to spend 10 minutes with someone to make you feel suddenly generous toward them. What do you mean? A voice is shrieking behind me, and as I turn, I see Sadie heading toward me. Her glow has disappeared. She's a whirl of fury. It's not a one-off. You made a promise. She's got a nerve. How about thank you for dressing up and looking like a fool, Lara? I kept my promise. I hiss out of the side of my mouth as I approach the bar. I've done my side of the deal. No, you haven't. She glares at me in outrage. You haven't even danced properly with him. You've just shuffled around dismally. Too bad. I get out my phone and pretend to be speaking into that. You said you wanted a date. I've given you one. The end. A glass of champagne and a G&T, please. I add to the barman and reach into my bag for some money. Sadie's silent, which probably means she's gearing up for a banshee moment, but as I look up, she's gone. I swivel around and see her back beside Ed. She's yelling in his ear. Oh gosh, what's she doing? I pay for the drinks as quickly as I can and hurry back across the bar. Ed is staring into the middle distance, that glazed, transfixed look on his face again. Genevieve is in the middle of an anecdote about Antigua and doesn't even seem to have noticed Ed's faraway expression. Or maybe she thinks he's transfixed by admiration for her. And then I saw him in a bikini top, she trolls with laughter. In the sea, I never lived that one down. Here you are, Ed, I say, and hand him his G&T. Oh, thanks, he seems to have come to. Do it now! Sadie suddenly swoops forward and shrieks in his ear. Ask her now! Ask me what? This had better not be about another date, 'cause it's not happening, no way. Whatever Sadie wants, Lara. Ed focuses on me with what looks like difficulty, his forehead furrowed more deeply than ever. Would you like to be my guest at the business people dinner? I do not believe it. In shock, I swivel my eyes up to Sadie's, and she's looking at me with an expression of triumph, her arms folded across her chest. Don't say yes on my account, she says carelessly. It's up to you, entirely. Ooh, she's good. She's a lot smarter than I thought. I didn't even realize she was paying attention to the conversation. This is impossible. There's no way I can turn down an invitation to the business people dinner. It's such a huge event. It'll be stuffed full of important business types. I'll be able to network, make contacts. It's a massive opportunity. I can't say no. I just can't. Damn her. Yes, I say at last stiffly. I'd love to come. Thank you, Ed. That's very kind of you. I'd love to come. Good, that's great. I'll send you the details. We both sound as though we're reading lines from cards. Genevieve is looking back and forth between our faces, bewildered. So you are a couple, she says. No, we reply in unison. No way, I add for emphasis. Not at all. I mean, never. Not in a million years. I take a sip and glance over at Ed. Is it my imagination, or does he look the tiniest bit offended? I last about another 20 minutes listening to Genevieve show off about every single holiday she's ever been on, practically. Then Ed glances at me and my empty glass and says, Don't let me keep you. Don't let me keep you. it's a good thing I'm not into this guy. Isn't that code for I can't stand a moment more in your company? I don't know what is. I'm sure you have dinner plans, he adds politely. Yes, I say brightly. I do, as it happens, absolutely. Dinner plans. I do a pantomime sweep of my watch in front of my eyes. Goodness, is that the time? I must run. My dinner companions will be waiting. I resist the temptation to add, Lyle, please, with champagne. Well, I have plans too, he nods, so maybe we should. He made dinner plans, of course he did. He probably has a whole other superior date lined up. Yes, let's. It's been fun. We both stand up, make general parting gestures at the business people, and head out of the bar onto the pavement. So, Ed hesitates. Thanks for... He makes as though to lean in for a peck on the cheek, then clearly decides against it and holds out his hand instead. That was great. I'll let you know about the business people dinner. His face is so easy to read, it's almost pitiful. He's already wondering how the hell he's got himself into this one. But having invited me in front of a crowd, he can hardly back out now. So I'm going this way, he adds. I'm going the other way, I respond at once. Thanks again, bye. I quickly turn on my heel and start striding down the street. What a fiasco. Why are you going home so early? Says Sadie crossly in my ear. You should have suggested going to a nightclub. I have dinner plans, remember? I say pointedly. And so does he. I stop dead on the pavement. I was in so much of a hurry to be off, I'm heading in totally the wrong direction. I turn around and look up the road, but there's no sign of Ed. He must have legged it as quickly as I did. I'm feeling pretty starving and a bit sorry for myself. I should have made real dinner plans, I think, as I head back up the road. I go into Pret Manger and start perusing the sandwich bar. I'll get myself a wrap and a carton of soup and a chocolate brownie, I decide. Go all out. I'm just reaching for a smoothie when a familiar voice comes across the gentle buzz of customers. Pete, hey buddy, how's it going? Sadie and I lock eyes in startled recognition. Ed? Instinctively, I shrink back, trying to hide behind a rack of healthy crisps. My eyes scan the queues of people and land on an expensive overcoat. There he is, buying a sandwich and talking on the phone. These are his so-called dinner plans? He didn't have plans at all, I muttered. He lied. So did you. Yes, but I feel slightly outraged by this. I'm not sure why. That's good. How's Mom? Ed's voice is unmistakable over the hubbub. I surreptitiously look around, trying to plan an escape route. There are massive mirrors everywhere in this shop. He's bound to spot me. I'll have to sit it out here until he's gone. Tell her I read the letter from the lawyer. I don't think they have a case. I'll send her an email later on tonight. He listens for a moment. Pete, it's no trouble. It'll take 5 minutes max. There's another longer silence. I am having a good time. It's great. He sighs, and when he speaks again, he sounds a little weary. Come on, it is what it is. You know that. I had a weird evening. My hand tightens around my smoothie in anticipation. Is he gonna talk about me? I just wasted too much of my life with the most obnoxious woman in the world. I can't help feeling a pang of hurt. I wasn't obnoxious. Okay, so I'm dressed a bit differently. You may have met her. Genevieve Bailey, DFT. No, it wasn't a date I was with. He hesitates. It was a strange situation. I'm so engrossed in trying to blend into the healthy crisp stand, I've stopped watching Ed. But all of a sudden I'm aware that he's made his purchase and is striding out of Pret holding a takeaway bag. He's heading past me, right past me, feet away. Please don't look. Shit. As though he can hear my thoughts, he glances over to the right and meets my eyes. He registers surprise but no embarrassment. Later, buddy, he says and slides his phone shut. Hi there. Oh, hi. I try to sound casually nonchalant, as though it was always the plan to be found lurking in Pret, clutching a wrap and a smoothie. Fancy, seeing you here. My dinner plans fell through. I clear my throat at the last minute. My friends called and canceled, so I thought I'd grab a bite to eat. The wraps are great here. Somehow I forced myself to stop babbling. Why should I be embarrassed anyway? Why isn't he embarrassed? He's been cut out as much as I have. So I thought you had dinner arrangements, I say lightly, raising my eyebrows. What happened to your plan? Was it canceled too? Or is it such a fancy dinner you're worried you won't get fed properly? I glance at his takeaway bag with a little laugh, waiting for him to look discomfited. He doesn't even flicker. This was my plan. Buy some food and get some work done. I have to fly to Amsterdam first thing tomorrow morning for a conference. I'm giving a paper. Oh, I say, thrown. His face is dead straight. I have a feeling he's telling the truth. Damn. Right, I say. Well, there's an awkward pause, then Ed nods politely. Have a good evening. He strides out of the Pret-a-Manger, and I watch him go, feeling wrong-footed. Josh would never wrong-foot me. I knew I didn't like this guy. Big issue? A voice interrupts my thoughts. Oh. I focus on the skinny man in front of me. He's unshaven and wearing a woolen hat and an official Big Issue seller's badge. Feeling bad for all the times I've walked by because it's too much hassle, I decide to make amends. I'll buy 5 copies, I say firmly. Thanks very much. Cheers, love. The man nods at my vintage outfit. Nice dress. I hand over the money and take 5 magazines, then pick up my supper items and head to the checkout. I'm still trying to work out exactly the witty, snappy thing I should have said to Ed. I should have given a lighthearted laugh and said, next time we make dinner plans, Ed, remind me to... No, I should have said, really, Ed, when you said dinner... What's the big issue? Sadie's voice breaks me out of my trance. I blink a few times, feeling suddenly annoyed with myself. Why am I wasting brain space on him? Who cares what he thinks? It's a street magazine, I explain. The money goes to projects for the homeless. It's a really good cause. I can see Sadie digesting this. I remember people living on the street, she says, her eyes distant after the war. Seemed as though the country would never find its footing again. I'm sorry, sir, you can't sell that in here. I notice a girl in uniform escorting the Big Issue seller out of the sandwich shop. We do appreciate the work you do, but it is company policy. I watch the man through the glass door. He seems utterly resigned to being ejected, and after a moment I can see him offering copies to passers-by, all of whom ignore him. Can I help you? I realize the cashier is calling out to me, and I hurry forward to the till. My credit card has lodged itself right at the bottom of my bag, so I take a while paying and lose track of where Sadie is. What the bloody hell? What's going on? Suddenly I become aware that all the cashiers are exclaiming and exchanging looks. Slowly I turn around to see what they're looking at, and I don't quite believe my eyes. There's an exodus of customers from the shop. They're all piling out onto the pavement and accosting the Big Issue seller. I can see some holding several copies in their hands, others thrusting money at him. There's one last customer remaining in the shop. Sadie is floating next to him, her face intense, her mouth to his ear. A moment later, with a startled look, he puts down the sushi box he's holding and hurries to join the throng outside, already pulling out his wallet. Sadie just stands back and watches, her arms folded in satisfaction. After a moment, she glances at me, and I can't help giving her a huge beam. You rock, Sadie, I mouth. The next moment, she's right beside me, looking puzzled. Did you say I'm a rock? You rock. I pick up my bag and start walking. It means you're great. You did a really good thing. I gesture at the customers outside, all milling around the Big Issue seller. Passers-by are now joining the crowd to see what's up, and the seller looks overwhelmed. We watch them for a moment, then turn and start heading down the street together, an easy silence between us. You rock too, says Sadie in a rush, and I look up in surprise. I'm sorry? You did a good thing too. I know you didn't want to wear this dress tonight, but you did, for me. Her gaze is resolutely ahead, so thank you. It's okay, I shrug and take a bite of chicken wrap. It wasn't that bad in the end. I'm not going to admit it to Sadie because then she'd crow over me and be unbearable. But actually, this whole 20s look is kind of growing on me. Kind of. Chapter 11. Things are on the up. I feel it in my bones. Even the second date with Ed is a positive thing. One has to seize one's opportunities, like Uncle Bill said. And that's what this is all about. Going to the business people dinner will be a great chance for me to meet loads of senior professionals, give out my card, and impress people. Natalie always said she had to be out there to keep her profile up. Well, now I'll be out there, too. Kate, I say as I enter the office on Monday morning, I need all my business cards, and I need to buy one of those little holders, and I need all the back issues of Business People. I break off in surprise. She's clutching the phone with one hand and circling the air wildly with the other. What's wrong? It's the police. She claps her hand over the receiver. They're on the phone. They want to come see you. Oh, right. A chunk of ice seems to descend nastily into my stomach. The police. I was hoping the police might just forget all about me. I glance around to see if Sadie's here, but there's no sign of her. She was talking about some vintage shop in Chelsea at breakfast time, so maybe she's gone off there. Shall I put them through? Kate is agog. Yes, why not? I try to sound confident and unconcerned, like I'm someone who deals with police matters every day, like Jane Tennyson or someone. Hello, Lara Linkman speaking. Lara, it's DC Davies here. As soon as I hear the voice, I have a flashback to myself sitting in that room, telling her I'm a speed walker training for the Olympics while she took notes, her face utterly impassive. What was I thinking? Hi, how are you? Well, thanks, Lara. She's pleasant but brisk. I'm in the area and was wondering if I could pop by your office for a chat. Are you free now? Oh gosh, a chat? I don't want that. I don't want to chat. Yes, I'm free. My voice has risen to a petrified squeak. Look forward to it, see you then. I put the receiver down, hotter on the face. Why is she following this up? Aren't the police always supposed to be chasing car fines and ignoring murders? Why couldn't they ignore this murder? I look up to see Kate staring at me, her eyes like saucers. What do the police want? Are we in trouble? Oh, no, I say quickly. Nothing to worry about. It's just about my aunt's murder. Murder? Kate claps a hand over her mouth. I keep forgetting how murder sounds when you just drop it into a sentence. Yes. So, anyway, what were you up to over the weekend? My distraction ruse doesn't work. Kate's boggled expression doesn't change. In fact, it becomes even more boggled. You never told me your aunt was murdered. The aunt whose funeral you went to? Mm-hmm. I nod. No wonder you were so upset. Oh, Lara, that's awful. How's she killed? Oh gosh, I really don't want to go into the details, but I'm not sure how else to get out of this conversation. Poison, I mumble at last. By who? Well, I clear my throat. They don't know. They don't know? Kate sounds totally outraged. Well, are they looking? Did they take fingerprints? Gosh, the police are useless. They spend their whole time giving you parking tickets, and then someone's actually murdered, and they don't even care. I think they're doing the best they can, I say hastily. They're most likely giving me an update report. In fact, they've probably found the culprit. Even as I'm speaking, the most horrific thought is hitting me. What if that's true? What if DC Davies is coming here to tell me they found the man with the scar and the braided beard? What do I do then? I have a sudden image of a gaunt, bearded man with wild eyes and the scar, locked up in a police cell, banging on the door, shouting, "You made a mistake! I never knew the old lady!" While a young police officer watches through a two-way window, folding his arms in satisfaction, saying he'll crack soon enough. For a moment, I feel quite hollow with guilt. What have I started? The buzzer goes, and Kate leaps up to answer it. Shall I make some tea? She says when she's pressed the buzzer. Shall I stay or go? Do you want moral support? No, you go. Trying to stay calm, I push my chair back, knock over a pile of posts with my elbow, and scrape my hand picking it up. I'll be fine. It'll all be fine, I tell myself fervently. It's no big deal. But I can't help it. As soon as I see DC Davies walking in the door with her clumpy shoes and sensible trousers and air of authority, I can feel my calmness disintegrating into childlike panic. Have you found the murderer? I blurt out anxiously. Have you locked anyone up? No, DC Davies says, giving me a strange look. We haven't locked anyone up. Thank goodness, I subside in relief. Then realize how that might sound. I mean, why not? What are you doing all day? I'll give you some privacy, says Kate, backing out, while simultaneously mouthing, useless, behind DC Davies' back. I have a seat, I gesture to a chair, and retreat behind my desk, trying to regain a professional air. So how are things progressing? Lara, DC Davies gives me a long, hard look. We have conducted some preliminary inquiries, and we have found no evidence to suggest that your aunt was murdered. According to the doctor's report, she died of natural causes, essentially old age. Old age? I adopt a shocked expression. Well, that's just ludicrous. Unless we can find any evidence to suggest otherwise, the case will be closed. Do you have any other evidence? I pause as though considering the question carefully from all sides. Not what you'd call evidence, not as such. What about this phone message you left? She pulls out a piece of paper. The nurses didn't do it. Oh, that, yes. I nodded several times, playing for time. I realized I'd got a tiny detail wrong in my statement. I just wanted to clarify things. And this man with a beard, a man who didn't even appear in your original statement. The sarcasm in her voice is unmistakable. Absolutely. I cough. Well, it suddenly came back to me. I remembered seeing him in the pub at the time and thinking he looked suspicious. I trail off, my face hot. D.C. Davies is looking at me like a teacher who's caught you cheating in the geography exam. Lara, I'm not sure you're aware of this, she says in calm, even tones, but wasting police time is a criminal offense which can carry a penalty of imprisonment. If you have made a malicious accusation... I wasn't being malicious, I say in horror. I was just... What, exactly? Her eyes are fixed on mine. She isn't going to let me off the hook. Now I'm really scared. Look, I'm sorry, I say in total panic. I didn't mean to waste your time. I just had this very strong instinct that my great aunt was murdered. But maybe, thinking about it in the cold light of day, I got it wrong. Maybe she did die of old age. Please don't prosecute me, I add in a rush. We're not going to charge you this time, D.C. Davies lifts her eyebrows, but consider this a warning. All right. I gulp. Thank you. The case is closed. I'd like you to sign this form confirming that we've had this talk. She proffers a piece of paper with a printed paragraph which basically says, I, the undersigned, have had a telling off and understood it and won't pester the police again. In so many words. Okay, I nod humbly and scribble my signature. So what will happen now with the... I can hardly bring myself to say it. What happens to my great aunt? The body will be handed back to the responsibility of the next of kin in due course, says D.C. Davies in a businesslike way. Presumably, they'll then arrange another funeral. And how soon will that be? The paperwork might take a while. She zips up her bag. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe a little longer. 2 weeks? I feel a jolt of horror. What if I can't find the necklace by then? 2 weeks is nothing. I need more time. Sadie needs more time. Can that be delayed at all? I try to sound casual. Lara, D.C. Davies gives me a long look, then sighs. I'm sure you were very fond of your great aunt. I lost my gran last year. I know what it's like. But delaying her funeral and wasting everyone's time is not the answer. She pauses, then adds more gently, you have to accept it. She's gone. She isn't, I say before I can stop myself. I mean, she needs more time. She was 105, D.C. Davies smiles kindly. I think she had enough time, don't you? But I exhale in frustration. There's nothing I can say. Well, thanks for all your help. After D.C. Davies has left, I sit staring blankly at my computer until I hear Sadie's voice behind me. Why were the police here? I swivel around in alarm to see her sitting on top of a filing cabinet, dressed in a low-waisted cream dress and matching cream hat, with blue-black feathers sweeping around to tickle her cheek. I've been shopping. I've just found the most divine little wrap. You must buy it. She adjusts her fur collar, then blinks at me. Why were the police here? Did you hear our conversation at all? I asked casually. No. I told you I've been shopping. She narrows her eyes. Is something wrong? I gaze back at her, stricken. I can't tell her the truth. I can't tell her she only has 2 weeks left before they're going to... Nothing. Just a routine visit. They wanted to check a few details. I like your hat. I had to distract her. Go and find me a hat like that. You couldn't wear a hat like this, says Sadie complacently. You don't have the cheekbones. Well, I hope that would suit me then. Sadie's eyes widened in surprise. You promise by whatever I choose and wear it? Yes, of course. Go on, shop. As soon as she's disappeared, I yank open my desk drawer. I have to find Sadie's necklace. Now. I can't waste any more time. I pull out the list of names and rip off the back sheet. Kate, I say as she comes back into the office. New job. We're trying to find a necklace. Long glass beads with a dragonfly pendant. Any of these people might have bought it at a jumbo sale at the Fairside Nursing Home. Can you ring this lot? There's a tiny flicker of surprise in her eyes, and she takes the list and nods without any questions, like some loyal Army lieutenant. Absolutely. I run my finger down past all the scribbled out names and dial the next number. After a few rings, a woman picks up. Hello? Hi there, my name's Lara Langton. You don't know me. It's 2 hours later before I finally put the phone down and look up warily at Kate. Any luck? No, she sighs. Sorry, how about you? Nothing. I slump back in my chair and rub my telephone-red cheeks. My adrenaline evaporated about an hour ago. As I neared the end of the list, it was turning to a heavy kind of disappointment. We've ruled out every single number. I don't have anywhere else to turn. What am I going to do now? Shall I go on a sandwich run? Says Kate tentatively. Oh, yeah, I muster a smile. Chicken and avocado, please. Thanks so much. No problem. She bites her lip anxiously. I hope you find it. As she leaves, I sink my head forward and rub my aching neck. I'll just have to go back to the nursing home and ask more questions. There have to be more avenues to explore. There has to be an answer. It just doesn't make sense. The necklace was there around Sadie's neck, and now it's gone. A thought suddenly strikes me. That visitor she had, Charles Reese. I never followed him up. I might as well tick every box. Fishing for my mobile, I find the number for the nursing home and warily dial. Hello, Fairside Nursing Home, answers a female voice. Hi, this is Lara Langton, Sadie Lancaster's great niece. Oh, yes? I was just wondering, can anyone tell me anything more about a visitor she had just before she died? A Charles Reese? Just a moment. As I'm waiting, I get out the sketch of the necklace and study it as though for clues. I've looked at this picture so many times I could practically draw each bead by heart. The more I've got to know it, the more beautiful it seems. I can't bear it if Sadie never gets it back. Maybe I should secretly have a copy made. I find myself thinking an exact replica. I could get it distressed, tell Sadie it's the original. She might just fall for it. Hello? A cheerful voice rouses me from my thoughts. Lara, it's Sharon here, one of the nurses. I was with Sadie when Charles Reese visited. In fact, I sent him in. What do you want to know about him? I just want to know, has he got her necklace? Well, what exactly happened during their visit? He sat with her for a bit, then he left. That's it. In her room? Oh, yes, she says at once. Sadie didn't really leave her room much in those last weeks. Right, so could he have taken a necklace from her? Well, it's possible. She sounds doubtful. It's possible. That's a start. Can you tell me what he was like? How old he was? In his 50s or so, I'd say. Nice-looking chap. This gets more and more intriguing. Who on earth is he? Sadie's boy toy? If he visits again or calls, could you let me know? I scribble down Charles Reese, 50s, on my notepad. And could you get his address? I can try, can't promise. Thanks, I sigh, feeling a bit dispirited. How am I ever going to track this guy down? And there's nothing else you can tell me about him? I add as a last-ditch attempt. Nothing distinctive? Nothing at all that you noticed? Well, she laughs. It's just funny you being called Langton. How come? I stare at the phone, puzzled. Ginny says you're not related to that Bill Langton off the coffee cups, millionaire bloke? Why do you ask? I'm suddenly alert. Because that's exactly who he looked like. I said it at the time to the girls. Even though he had dark glasses on and a scarf, you could see it. He was a spitting image of Bill Langton.